Hey everybody, and welcome to a new video. And as you can see in the thumbnail, we are talking about my Game Boy Color collection. The Game Boy Color is a system that really should have came out earlier in its timeline, I believe. You know, with the original Game Boy being greenish and then the Pocket being black and white. I felt like the color should have came out a little bit earlier, but when it did get here, it was freaking awesome. Now in this video, I'm going to go over my full collection, and I also mention my top 10 favorite games for the system. Even though that list will probably change in the future, you never know. But I always do that in these system collection videos. So sit back and enjoy the show, or try to. So I got my Game Boy Color system Christmas of '98. I was very happy. My mom got me the purple one. She got me the Legend of Zelda DX, Link's Awakening, and also Mortal Kombat 4. Now the latter wasn't that great of a game, but still at the time, I loved Mortal Kombat 4 because I had it on the PlayStation. I was pretty good at it. The first Mortal Kombat game I was good at. But now, going into the system, it was about time that Nintendo had finally went into color. You know, it had been 8 years, and we begged Nintendo for color, and they finally gave it to us. It didn't have a light built in it, you know, but still, everybody was just at awe because it was in color. It was a really big deal. Now, I literally played that system all the time. You know, everywhere I went, I had it with me. It was pretty funny. And I remember when I went to the military, when I got to my AIT training, I had my mom send it to me so I would have something to play. Now, we weren't allowed to have them there, but I snuck it in, and I had the little worm light with it because, like I said, it didn't have a built-in light, so you had to use the worm light. The worm light was actually pretty cool. It worked well for the system at the time. You know, using it now is pretty lame. Most people get their Game Boy Colors modded to where they have a backlight. But back then, you know, that worm light was on point. And I think I actually still have it. So a lot of you that watch the channel know that I keep what I get over the years. And I kind of got a pretty good collection of Game Boy Color games. So pretty much we're going to start off with my favorite 10 Game Boy Color games, and then I'll show you guys the rest of my collection. So let's take a look at our first game. Star Ocean: The Blue Sphere for the Game Boy Color. This is a direct sequel to Star Ocean: The Second Story on the PlayStation. If you're not familiar with the Star Ocean games, they are action RPGs that have a lot of depth. This game here pretty much brings that to the Game Boy Color, and with that, I would say it kind of plays like, if you're familiar with the Tales of games, it plays like the first of those type of games. So if you don't know already, this is a fan English translation of the game that was released a couple years ago. So it took around, I want to say, this game came out in 2000, almost 20 years for somebody to finally finish it. And was it worth the wait? I mean, no, because I rather played it years ago, but still, it's here now, so better late than never. Here's Blaster Master Enemy Below. This is what I would say is probably the third game in the main storyline. It plays like the first two games, more so the first game with the side-scrolling levels and the top-down dungeons pretty much. The game also has those cool story cinematic scenes that kind of help flesh the story along if you kind of know what they're portraying, I would say. But anyways, fans of the first game will definitely feel right at home with this one. I would say, even go as far as saying this is kind of a hidden gem of the Blaster Master series. But don't take my word for it. Definitely try it out for yourself. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised, especially if you're a fan of the first game. I'm putting both Mega Man Extreme games in here as one entry. You guys know how I feel about the Mega Man X games, and Mega Man Extreme definitely delivers on the love I have for the series. I wasn't sure if the game worked properly at first because the original X games are 6-button games, where this game had to go down to 2 buttons to use during battle, but it actually works pretty well. And the way the layout for the game is, the way you fight the robots is actually really good, so it doesn't get too overwhelming. But if you're a fan of the Mega Man X games and you haven't played these games, you are truly missing out. These games are actually really cool, and they add a lot to the story of the Mega Man X games. Even though those games don't have too much story that anybody cares about, most people care about the battles, but I care about everything in the X games, and story is one of the highlights. Bionic Commando Elite Forces on the Game Boy Color is another fantastic game that I don't think a lot of people know exists, unfortunately. It is a sequel to the Game Boy version of the game, and this one adds color, and also it adds the ability to pick between a male and female protagonist. I don't think there's any difference between them, but it does give you that option. So Bionic Commando pretty much is a run and gun game where you use the grappling hook to get to a certain destination. It's really cool. This game adds some sniper levels that are actually pretty unique to it. It took me a while to get used to, but overall they're actually really fun. So if you see this one out there, I would say you probably want to add it to your collection. Alone in the Dark, the new Nightmare on the Game Boy Color actually really pushes the system to its limits. I was really impressed with this one, and it actually has a lot of scary moments. Be sure you put your headphones in for this one. If you guys, well, I'm pretty sure none of you have played this, but I'm probably the only person that's played this game. But there's a game on PC or IBM DOS computer back in the day called Last Half of Darkness. It feels like this game plays like that one, and that was a point-and-click survival horror. Even though you control your character in this one, it feels like that with the certain camera angles and all that stuff. But there's generally a lot of scary moments in this, and when you fight enemies, you fight them on the screen, and then you kind of move on to the next area. Really good stuff. If you haven't played this one, you owe it to yourself to play it. And from the PS1 and Dreamcast and PS2 ports, things happen differently in this game. Instead of your plane crashing like in those other ones, your plane actually lands safely to your destination, which is pretty insane. But the game gets crazy from there. But if you see this one out there, I say definitely check it out. I found out about Extreme Sports because I was looking at Way Forward games. I wanted to see what they had done in the past, and this game did not disappoint. You pretty much play as a boy or a girl. You enter a tournament that has 5 games. One is skateboarding, one is skydiving, surfing, rollerblading, and one other game I can't remember right off the bat, but it's actually really well done and a lot of fun. So I would say if you see this one out there on the cheap, definitely pick this one up. This is an awesome game. The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX is a remake of the Game Boy game with the same name, but it adds color to it, as you can see here. This was one of my first Game Boy Color games I got for the Game Boy Color system, and I pretty much had fell in love with this game. You know, there hadn't been a game at the time that I really liked, like The Legend of Zelda 2, The Adventures of Link. I know a lot of people go for Zelda Link to the Past, but I just wasn't feeling that like everybody else was, unfortunately. But I still think it's an awesome game, but I just wasn't really like on it like that. But this game here, for some reason, pulled me in. And if you haven't played this one, obviously, you should play it. So next up is Windy Every Which Way. This is another Way Forward release. If you're familiar with games like Gravity Rush, I would say, and you're used to how that game works with the platforming, you'll know what to expect here, but only instead of 3D, it's 2D. So Windy uses gravity to kind of get around certain obstacles to get to the end of the level. And also it has shoot 'em up levels when you're trying to get to the next section of the level. So really cool game here, and a lot of people didn't really find out about this one until probably a couple years ago. This one kind of was hidden for a very long time, but now it's very sought after. But if you see it out there on the cheap, you should definitely try this one out. I don't think a lot of people gave this game enough love, and I think a lot of people really like it, so check this one out. Resident Evil Gaiden, or Gaiden, whatever you want to call it, is what I remember the first portable. It might not be the first portable game of the series, but it's the one I remember the most. I remember seeing this at the PX all over the place. There's a bunch of copies, but nobody was buying because nobody wanted to play the Game Boy Color at the time. They were kind of like playing the PS2 and stuff like that, so portable gaming wasn't really popular. But this game was the first game in the series to actually star Barry Burton, despite him for some reason not being on the cover. They chose Leon as the cover boy. I guess they thought that would help with sales. But pretty much this game, you target enemies and then you get into a battle system with them. It's like a targeting battle system, but it takes a while to get used to it. But once you start to get used to it, you'll get the hang of things. You'll save a lot of bullets because you want to conserve bullets in this game because there's a lot of enemies that come after you, and if you don't know how to use the targeting system, you're going to be in trouble. But this Resident Evil game is actually a really cool spin-off of the series, and if you see it out there for a good price, you should pick it up. And last but not least, we have Metal Gear Solid. The original name for this is actually Metal Gear Solid Ghost Babel. I don't know why they changed the name to Solid to confuse people, but whatever. So this is a sequel to the original. I mean, I think it's to the second Metal Gear game or the first one. I can't really remember, but it takes an alternate path to the story, and it's actually really well done. I mean, the story in this game is like, man, this is really good. It includes all the codec messages, great boss battles. It just feels like a really good. It looks like they put a lot of time into this game, or enough time to make it a solid experience. If you haven't played Metal Gear Solid Ghost Babel, or just Metal Gear Ghost Babel, well, Metal Gear Solid Ghost Babel, let's just call it that, you owe it to yourself, because this is seriously a really well done game, and it's probably, it is my favorite Game Boy Color game that I own. If you guys see this one out there, you need to go ahead and grab it, because it's a great experience. It's not like we're getting Metal Gear Solid games anymore these days. At least maybe that'll change in the future, but this one is just really well done. Alright, so if you made it to this part of the video, you get to see the full collection. I don't really consider myself having many Game Boy Color games, you know, but some people may think this is a lot. So this is my Game Shark, my original Game Boy Color, purple, which I think was the best color for it. The games here, Windy Every Which Way, Shantae, Super Mario Bros. Deluxe, which I had a fun time with back in the day, 1942. Still has that annoying sound effect, Star Ocean, Bubble Bobble, the classic version, RoboCop, which is a PAL exclusive, very cool game. The Zelda, Oracle of Ages and Seasons, which were made by Capcom. Zelda Link's Awakening, Metal Gear Solid, Blaster Master Enemy Below, as you saw earlier. Sabrina, Zapped, and Spook. These are actually pretty cool games made by Way Forward. They play like the Shantae and Every Which Way game. Mega Man X Extreme, or just Mega Man Extreme. Resident Evil Gaiden, Azure Dream, Street Fighter Alpha, solid game. Tubin, which I wanted to put in this video as one of my top. It just barely made it, but it's just a simple water rafting game. Mario Golf and Tennis, Lufaya, actually a pretty good game. R-Type DX, S11, which I found out about this game a few years ago. Pretty decent shoot 'em up. Mortal Kombat 4, I got that on Christmas back in the day. Not a good game, but I was so infatuated with Mortal Kombat at the time, especially the fourth game, because that was the first Mortal Kombat game I was good at, that I wanted it on the Game Boy Color. Magical Tetris Challenge, Wario Land 3 and 2. I don't really hear a lot of people talk about the Wario Land games, but you know, let me know what you guys think about them. Hamtaro, the hamster, Extreme Wheels, which is another game that's really good. My buddy X told me about that one. Plays like a sight bike, but you know, just with a bit of a twist, I would say. And here's some of my more common games. Toby Deluxe is a pretty cool game. Toby Girl, excuse me. Then we got Magical Chase, which is not a common game. Grandia and Super Mario Land 2 DX, those are the color hack versions of Super Mario Land 1 and 2. Resident Evil, that was almost done, completed before it was canceled. In Star Ocean, the Japanese and the English version, and Survival Kids. Alright guys, that's all I got. See you later.